All right, I always like to start my class with a corny dad joke. So today's is this. However, I'm fairly certain I've said this before. So I think I need to re-up and refine my corny dad jokes. But what do you call a sheep who can sing and dance? Lady Baba. Ba-dum-bum. All right. If you can, close your eyes and take two deep healing breaths with me. If you're comfortable closing your eyes, if not, you can do this any way you want. Um, but recently, I took a very quick crash course in various breathing techniques, and one of them was tracing your hand, which I thought was nice. So basically, it's, breathe in and then out really slow, and then breathe in and then breathe out very slow. And the reason I like this is because my love language is physical touch. So you're almost kind of caressing yourself while you're deep breathing. So it works on, a few different aspects of your mind and body. But for this purpose, if you want to take a deep breath and just out, and one more deep breath and out. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about a term that you may or may not have heard before, and it's called compartmentalization. Um, we've all heard of what compartmentalization is before, if you've heard of the term. But in its simplest form, compartmentalization is the act of separating out different parts of our lives and keeping them separate. It's a psychological process of separating thoughts, emotions into distinct departments. For example, you might have a work life and a home life, and you keep them separate by not bringing work problems home with you. There are some benefits to compartmentalization. Obviously, if you're dealing with a situation where somebody has broken trust or secrets, there's also some downfalls. But I will say one of the great benefits with compartmentalization is that it does reduce stress. Now, the downfall with that is that a lot of times people seek out affairs or secrets in a relationship to reduce stress. And unfortunately, compartmentalization is one of those go-to things that does automatically reduce stress. So it kind of works against you in the form of breaking trust. All right. In a more complicated sense, people can use compartmentalization for rationalizing things. They can use it to rationalize or almost justify things that they know are wrong. For example, someone might cheat on their spouse because they've compartmentalized their affair as something that has nothing to do with their marriage or nothing to do with their family, or what have you. This has nothing to do with anything with my family life. This is completely separate. And although true, it's quite the flawed way of thinking. For this class, I just wanted to give you 5 ways that the person who stepped out can compartmentalize their affair, just to give people more of an understanding of why and how people can compartmentalize. Number one, people can separate their feelings from you and from the feelings from the people they're cheating with. So they can compartmentalize things within the affair and compartmentalize the relationship they have with their family. People who compartmentalize the affair that they're having temporarily disconnect their emotions from it, which is why I always say affair talk is bullcrap. Because first of all, true love, is based on selflessness. Affairs are selfish. And one of the reasons is because when we're truly in love with someone, we want to do what makes them happy because we're selfless. When we're in an affair, we're doing whatever we need to do because we want something from someone. which is why I say, affair talk is bullcrap. When people say, "Oh, I love you and I want to marry you," and all that, you're giving somebody what they want because they're giving you what you need. It's not based on true love. It's very selfish. Um, these people may find themselves guilty, but not let that stop them, or they might find themselves attracted to someone else while still staying dedicated to their partner. It's important to understand that compartmentalizing the affair is no way to make it a healthy relationship. If they can separate their feelings for you from the person with whom they cheat, infidelity is still wrong and a hurtful act, obviously. Although compartmentalizing might make it easier for them to carry on without feeling overwhelmed by conflicting emotions, it could damage, obviously, all parties. So basically, yes, it might help reduce some of the strain and stress and pressure. And that gives somebody who steps out a false sense of rationalizing it. Even though cognitively, deep down inside, doesn't even have to be deep down inside, it's wrong. I always say affairs start with a million micro justifications, and compartmentalization is one of them. All right, the next, they're able to convince themselves that what they're doing isn't wrong, even though they know it is. Kind of similar to what I was just saying before. People are extremely skilled at compartmentalizing their own moral misgivings. They can convince themselves that an affair, for example, is not really wrong or hurtful to anyone, even though they know this is not the truth. This compartmentalizing allows them to feel better about their actions, even if they're not actually morally sound. Because again, compartmentalizing kind of dilutes your moral compass, for a lack of a better term. It's a way to overlook or ignore their own values in order to avoid feeling guilty or anxious about a situation. It's no wonder why so many people resort to compartmentalization when faced with a moral dilemma, because it's a powerful way of convincing oneself that something isn't wrong, even when there's a different judgment that could be made on the surface. Now, I'm going to give you an example. I actually just thought of this when I was talking now. There was uh, a study that was done, and I don't know the depth of the study. You can look it up. But basically, they put a kitten in the box, and then they put like $10,000 outside the box, and they put a timer on for like a minute, 60 seconds. And they said in 1 minute, once the clock starts, in 60 seconds, 1 minute, the clock is going to go down, and when it hits zero, this kitten is going to be electrocuted and die. Or you can stop the button and save the kitten, or you can take the money, but you have to stay here and watch the kitten die. And it was so interesting because initially you've had people that were like looking out for the kitten, whatever. And then as the timer was going down, you started to see compartmentalization. I'm never going to see this kitten again. There's too many cats already. We start to compartmentalize, which dilutes that initial strong passion we had that this is wrong. No, maybe it wasn't $10,000, maybe it was $1,000, but what have you. All right, the next one is they're very good at hiding their affair from you and may even be able to keep the lie up for years. I think the longest affair that I've personally worked with, and which is aghast, I understand, was a 38-year affair. I was working with this couple that were in their 70s, and this gentleman had a 38-year affair, which I don't know. At that point, people might even say that was no affair. That was like a completely double life, whatever. But um, affairs can last a long time, 6, 7, 8, 13 years. People can keep this up. Those engaging in extramarital affairs are often skilled in compartmentalizing the affair, allowing them to keep up the life for years. From compartmentalizing certain details to utilizing technology, individuals can use a variety of methods to protect their secrets. And I will tell you, in this day and age of technology, technology is very bittersweet, very bittersweet. If you make it work for you, it's wonderful. But man, it could control you. And in this day and age of technology, it's so easy. It's so easy to hide things, so easy to talk to people, so easy for that slippery slope of an affair or cheating or what have you. They may demonstrate extreme caution and go to great lengths to ensure that no one discovers their affair. It's smart not to take anything in face value if you suspect someone is being unfaithful. So pay attention to how your partner is behaving and trust your gut instincts, which is what I say all the time if something doesn't feel right to you. And your gut instinct doesn't have to say your partner's cheating. It just has to say something is off, but we have to be careful not to let betrayal blindness come in and talk us out of it. Like, oh, my husband's so generous. He probably just gave his coworker a ride home from work. Or my wife is so nice. She probably just met somebody for coffee so they can tell her their problems, whatever. Don't trust but verify. That's what I tell my kids all the time. Next, if confronted, they'll likely deny everything and try to turn the blame on you. Potential gaslighting here. When confronted about the affair, cheaters will often deny the allegations and instead make up their own excuses. They'll try to shift the blame on you, blaming your suspicions on your insecurities or misunderstanding. Absolutely, this is gaslighting. Um, Gaslighting terms could be, why would you even ask me that? You're so insecure. Who would even think like that? Anytime you walk away feeling like you are less than just for asking a question, that's gaslighting 101. It's just all a tactic that they use to deny the affair, keep it hidden, and make you know you're crazy by questioning, why would I even question my spouse or my partner or my significant other? Instead of denying it with words, many cheaters will deny it with body language. They can avoid eye contact. They can become defensive. They can start whispering. Although confronting a loved one about an affair is never easy, it's important to trust your instincts and not let them deny the truth. And I get it. I get it. Like, a lot of you that may watch this are thinking, I don't even want to plant that in my partner's head that I have this insecurity. It's not an insecurity at all. Your main job is to make, well, not your main job, but your job in a relationship is to maintain safety, whether that means encourage your partner to wear a seatbelt when you get in the car, whether that's to, hey, inquire, there's something going on that you and I need to talk about. I mean, safety is key in a relationship. So it's not a matter of insecurity or you're thinking wacky or whatever. And this is even including if you have an anxious attachment style and have had tons of trauma before the relationship. Your gut and instinct is still working. Might be a little off at times after trauma, but it's still working. So you feel something, man, dive into that and ask questions. Let me see passwords. Let me see social media. Let me see where you're going on a tracking advice. If you're not, people that have nothing to hide, hide nothing. Cheaters are often master manipulators who are experts at making you feel like you're the one in the wrong. Just kind of covered this. Cheaters are some of the most masterful manipulators, and gaslighting is one of their favorite tools to use against you. It involves making you second guess yourself and eroding away your sense of trust in the relationship. But actually, at first, what it does is makes you erode your sense of trust within yourself. When they gaslight you by completely denying or minimizing any wrongdoing on their part, they can make you feel like you're the one in the wrong. It can be very difficult to navigate when a person who has broken your trust so deeply that's also gaslighting you. It's like, my God, are you serious? Like you're kicking me when I'm down. You've already disrespected me. Now you're going to try to make me feel like I'm stupid. Are you serious? Recognizing gaslighting is an important step towards standing up for yourself and getting control back in your life. If anybody watching this is the one who stepped out and broke trust, be very careful with gaslighting. Be very careful because, as I say all the time, people can get over an infidelity. Not easy. People can get over cheating. People can't get over the games that are played afterwards. So don't gaslight and lie and all this other crap. Now, if you're watching this and you happen to be the one who was betrayed and you're still in communication with your partner, feel free to pass this on to them so they can understand, maybe learn. All right, finding out about your significant other that's cheating can be, I don't have to, people that are watching this know, there's when you are betrayed by a loved one, It's like throwing a boulder, a big rock in the middle of a pond. There is not a ounce of that water that's not going to be affected by a ripple. And that's what happens to our mind, body, soul, and life. Not one part of our life is not affected when it comes to betrayal. And I'm talking spiritually, financially, emotionally, you name it, physically. Um, my God, the tears, the vomiting, the you name it. And then if trauma is left alone, now you got all kinds of other physical things. Um, Betrayal from somebody you loved and trusted affects every aspect of your entire life. Initially, hopefully it doesn't manage it for the rest of your life, but um, ultimately, it's important to remember that cheaters often have a deep ability to separate their emotions from their spouse and from the person they're having the affair with. Which is why a lot of times after when the truth comes out and you're talking to somebody, you're like, do I even know you? Who are you? Well, they've done such a good job compartmentalizing, possibly dissociating, which is a whole other class, rationalizing, justifying. So they've lived in this space for so long to where they almost got comfortable, not 100%, but they've almost got comfortable living this. So when you're talking to them and it took them so long to get comfortable living this, they're almost coming across as, yeah, that's what I did and that's what it was. And you're, what cycle am I with? Because this is all new to you and they're acting like, blase. Um, Oftentimes they're able to convince themselves what they're doing is okay. And all too often, manipulators can cover up their affair for months, years, and even decades. Um, Cheaters will do just about anything to avoid answering uncomfortable questions or acknowledging the truth, which often results them in trying to blame others or their spouse. Like I said, typical gaslighting tactic. It's important not to fall victim to any manipulation tactics and instead take a few steps back while figuring out how to best resolve the situation, which I know could be hard because your brain is hijacked. So how in the world are you going to think critically or logically when your brain was just hijacked? Which is why at the beginning of this class, I start with deep breaths, because that would be a good place to start. The other thing too, kind of is I wish I had a fork. Actually, I was not too long ago, I was coaching a couple that are getting married. And one of the things that the one of the fiancés, she said, what do I do when he just infuriates me and enrages me? And what do I do? Obviously, we talked about it, but the last thing that I said, I picked up a fork and I said, the next time he enrages you, I want you to pick up a fork and I want you to look at him through the fork. And if you don't think you look good in orange and you don't want to see him through bars, take a deep breath before you react. So maybe that'll help some of you guys. All right, make sure you take care of yourself because taking care of yourself is paramount. As Lord have mercy, I just said, man, your brain is hijacked during this whole time. So please make sure that you're equipped with your valid emotional support, making sure that you're spending some time on personal growth, reflecting, not taking any responsibility whatsoever for the wrong that was done to you, but doing a deep dive into where was I, um, did I have any involvement in the setup process? Did I not have or enforce my boundaries? Did I not trust or look into my gut or my instinct? Did I? So nothing that was done to you was your fault. Somebody mad took advantage of you. Mad, I think that's an 80s term. Okay, anyways. But what areas could I grow in so I can try to make sure that this is curtailed in the future? Lastly, I just want to say another friendly reminder to practice self-care. That could be meditate, exercise, go on walks, engage in activities that give you joy. Make sure you're taking time for yourself emotionally as well as physically during this hard time. One of the things that I uh, recommend everybody is do you have a hobby? And hobbies with others is great. And please, by all means, do a book club, whatever that is. But do you have a hobby that you like doing, yourself? Building Legos, painting picture. Do you have a hobby? Singing, something that you do for yourself, by yourself. That's always great. All right. I know I jumped around a lot. And I know I talked fast, but I hope you got something out of this, and I appreciate you watching.